Hello everyone, welcome back. This is episode 5, Return of the Sun. Last episode, we saw the Romans in Spain under command of ex-consuls Publius and Gnaeus Scipio. We ended their story with their massive defeats and the loss of life in battle against the Barca brothers. Now we will see the young Roman lion take center stage as he becomes the vengeance of Rome. We last left the young Scipio shortly after the Battle of Cannae. He and the survivors soon gathered together to figure out what to do. Hannibal had just crushed the largest Roman army ever. A consul was dead on the field. No army stood between Hannibal and Rome. The young officers started to gather around a man named Claudius. He was preparing to abandon Rome. Scipio and some men broke into the meeting, and he made an oath to Jupiter, king of the gods, that he would kill any man who would betray Rome at her darkest hour, or his life and family be cursed. This show of faith convinced many other soldiers to regain their confidence.
You dig it? Can you dig it?
They would regroup with the remaining consul, Varro, on his march back to Rome. The next we hear of him is years later, soon after the death of his father and uncle in Spain. The Senate was holding elections. A new commander was daily needed. But Rome knew she had lost a large number of former leaders, both old and young. The senators and people were waiting outside for someone, anyone to volunteer. The time went by slowly. Quiet stillness was in the air. This went on all day. Men looked among themselves, suggesting others take the job, but not themselves. As the day was near ending, some started to curse their fates. Some cursed the weakness of the men this generation offered. Then, before the sun could leave the day, a young man in his 20s walked up upon the stage and onto the rostra, the speaker's podium. He announced his candidacy for commander of the Roman armies in Spain. Speaking to the desperate times they suffered through, the Senate and people of Rome accepted the man. Young Scipio was given proconsular authority over Spain, a position similar to the consulship, but is given to you after you serve as consul already. This was to keep on good leaders after the elections. He was not even old enough to run for consul. He soon gave a brave and romantic speech of the destiny of Rome, how it must rise and conquer. With this speech, the people were reassured that they have given power to the right man. He would be giving 10,000 foot and 4,000 horse to accompany him to Spain, which already held nearly the same amount. Scipio was returning to Spain. He would travel to the trading center of Emporion in the northeast coast of Spain. Here he marched his recruits to meet the survivors from the disasters a year prior. The Roman tribune who defeated Gisco after the deaths of the Scipios was the most anxious soldier. His position could be seen as a direct threat to the new commander's authority. When Scipio arrived in Tarraco, modern-day Tarragona, the general salutes the tribune for a grand display of Roman bravery. He brought the man into his close circle. This proved to many a soldier that Scipio may be young, but he was wise beyond his years. Now began an intense training program to bring this army up to standards during the winter. He would make this the most professional army the Republic has ever fielded. This would come at the most opportune time. The armies of Carthage were divided in Spain. A Roman fleet, commanded by Laelius, a close friend of Scipio, arrived, and the lion told his friend, and his friend alone, of his plans. The hour has arrived. Early in the morning, the legions awoke before the sun and ate a filling breakfast. They were told that a march was planned for several days. However, they would travel very light. The men thought that maybe the new commander wanted to ambush one of the 3 Carthaginian generals running around Spain. Hasbal would have been the closest, so they were in high spirits to defeat a son of Hamilcar. So onwards they went, on with the busy days. Every night a standard Roman camp was built and defended. Every morning it would be demolished. The Roman armies traveled and slept as a walking terror to nature. Then, after a few days' march through heavily forested lands, the legions could hear the seagulls and the other marine birds. It started to dawn upon them. Hasbal within the interior. They were by the coast now. Loud cracks from the water were heard. It was the Roman fleet under Laelius. Now the men were really confused. Where were they going? The fleet would make anchor nearby. Scipio and Laelius held a military council of war with the centurions, the leaders of the units in the army. The legions finally saw their target in the distant morning fog, a fortress on a hill, nearly surrounded by water on 2 sides, and heavy defensive walls on the other 2. Scipio planned to take the capital of the Barca family, New Carthage. This is where most of Carthaginians' money, weapon, hostages, and all the essentials for the campaigns was held. The men paused, thinking and then praying to the gods that their commander could break into the strongest fortress before being surrounded by the armies of Carthage. They could already be on their way. Next time, we follow the amazing career of the young Scipio at his first time at command. Thanks for listening. This is Son of Prometheus, signing out.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.